Oh, sorry. I got distracted there for a little bit. I had a notification come up on my social media. I wanted to check out and see what it was. Do you ever do that? You may be in the middle of something that is obviously more important. Perhaps it's in a conversation with family, it's at a dinner table with friends. And instead of being engaged in what's around you and clearly more important, you get distracted because maybe there was an alert on your phone that you thought you might miss out on something. Guilty. And I don't even have to ask the question. We're all guilty of this. It may not be a device in front of us or a notification that comes up. It may not be a game or something we're watching on TV, but we are all guilty of being distracted by something that may be fun, and that distraction causes us to miss out on being engaged with what is more important around us. This plays true in our relationships at home. This plays true in our work relationships. This plays true even in our relationship with God. Now, I bring this to mind today. I don't have any intention to make this video commentary about making a statement on whether or not smartphones actually make you smart, or whether or not social media is important, or any other thing, media, or habit that may present a distraction. That's not my purpose specifically. I will say, as an illustration, the other day I was scrolling through some images and I found this picture of a man. He was clearly backpacking or hiking, and he's sitting on a rock on the entrance to a canyon overlooking beautiful mountains. Sunset was absolutely majestic, and rather than taking in the view, he's looking at his phone. I think that is illustrative of the way that we oftentimes live our life, where God may be desiring to teach us, present an opportunity for us to make his name known or to share the hope of the gospel to others. And rather than being engaged on the world around us, we're distracted by things that may not necessarily be in and of themselves bad, but they may be keeping us from something that is better. When I look at this, an example of this in Scripture is in the story of the people of Israel. We looked this past week in the Exodus journey toward the end of chapter 15. Just 3 days prior, God had demonstrated his power in a miraculous way as they escaped the attack of the Egyptian army and Pharaoh. They marched through the Red Sea on dry land. God defeated them from their enemies, and now they're free into the wilderness to go and worship Yahweh. 3 days later, now, rather than keeping their eyes fixed on God, who would clearly leading them on a direct path on purpose, because he's in the form of a pillar of cloud or fire by day and by night. He's leading them exactly where he wants them to go, because he wants them to learn something about himself. He's leading them to a place of purpose and destiny. But instead, they are so distracted by water, which is important. Water is hugely important for life. They're murmuring, they're complaining, they're bitter, they're angry, they've got an attitude that's projecting toward Moses. I think that is illustrative of us, rather than trusting the sovereign hand of God who is leading us a place for purpose. Rather than being engaged with where we are and seeing and asking God, what is it that you're wanting to teach me here? We allow distractions to develop in us an attitude of bitterness, of anger, of resentment, of doubt. All those emotions come into play. Relational problems begin to fracture because we're not able to see and be aware of what God may be wanting us to do and learn. Here's where we can trust. God is leading us on a path toward righteousness if we can trust him and acknowledge him every step of the way. For us to see that and be engaged with his plan, it may mean that we need to put away or mitigate the amount of distractions that come in. In fact, it may be helpful for you to prioritize some times of solitude, some times without technology, to be face-to-face engaged with people who you may need to engage with for the sake of introducing them to Christ or being fed by them, whatever it may be. Here's what I know. God is guiding us and leading us every step, but we must be engaged to see and ask, what does he want to teach us, rather than being distracted by things that may be good, but aren't as important as what He's trying to do in our life. And I invite you to respond to a situation like that the way that Moses did in Exodus 15 toward the end of in the same response toward the need that created an attitude of dissatisfaction and anger in the people of Israel. For Moses, his response was one of prayer. I'm going to seek the Lord and ask Him what He wants to do in this situation. That requires a level of focus and engagement on me and you every day. I pray that you may model that this week, to exercise prayer, to exercise engagement, to even exercise the discipline to set aside some of those distractions for you so that you can be in a posture and in a position to see and receive what the Lord has for you. These are some thoughts that kind of coincide with our sermon this past week that you may want to check that out if you missed it. And also know that we're available. If you want to reach out, check our website, kind of explore around for some other tools and resources, because we'd love to help you along the way if we can pray for you, come alongside you in any way. And until next time, God bless.